Anti-UAV Challenge. Destroy 5 UAVs with the Mayhem launcher. First of all, if you're looking for the MAAWS version of this challenge, I already did a video covering it. You can find a link to this video in the description. This particular video is only covering the Mayhem launcher. So without a doubt, this is one of the most difficult challenges in all of Advanced Warfare. However, there are a few favorable aspects to this challenge. First, you only need 5 UAVs. At first glance, that's not too shabby. At least it's not 10. Second, the Mayhem has 2 rockets per life. Third, the UAV is one of the most used score streaks in the entire game. You should have no problem finding UAVs to fire at least. With the good things about this challenge out of the way, let's take a look at the number one obstacle we have to overcome. That, of course, would be the flight pattern of the Mayhem's projectile. The Mayhem is similar to the RPG of previous Call of Duty games. In fact, many people say the Mayhem does not have the curved trajectory like the RPG did, and as a result is much more accurate. Now I would say this is somewhat true. I've had the Mayhem launcher have some pretty irregular projectile patterns. Of course, if it shot perfectly straight, this challenge would be so much easier. Unlike the RPG, the Mayhem actually has a useful sight on it. So one of my goals is to help you learn how to use the Mayhem sights to successfully hit a UAV. So first of all, the main issue I'm certain people are having with the Mayhem is the flight pattern. To me, it seems completely random as to how the projectile is going to travel. Sometimes you get pretty lucky and it flies more or less straight. Sometimes, though, it curves a little bit. And then other times it seems to have a mind of its own. For example, it can fly in waves, going in an up and down pattern. Or sometimes, if you equip the perk Crackhead Pro, the rocket will do this. Seriously, what the fudge was that? Good luck hitting a UAV when the rocket breaks mid-stride and flies completely in the opposite direction from where you shot it. I tried going prone and shooting the Mayhem to see if that made it fly straighter, but it didn't. Same thing for crouching and jumping. Nothing seems to make the rocket fly straight. With that said, however, the further the rocket goes, the less straight it becomes. For example, if you shoot at someone who is relatively close to you, the rocket will go pretty straight and nail him. If you're shooting a little UAV in the sky, the rocket will go straight for a bit, but then waver and change directions. So knowing this, we can use that in our favor. If you haven't seen my video on how to shoot down Paladins, let me reiterate something from that. Paladins can only be shot with bullets on certain maps. This is because score streaks come in at different heights depending on the map. The same thing, to some extent, applies to UAVs. On some maps, the UAVs will come in extremely close, and on other maps, they fly very, very far away. So this is key to shooting down our 5 UAVs. We want to find the maps where the UAVs fly closest. Remember, the shorter the distance your Mayhem projectile flies, the straighter it becomes. It's no wonder everyone is struggling with this challenge if you're shooting UAVs on maps where they fly very high, as that means your trajectory is going to be all over the place. Closer is better. And luckily for you guys, I've put extensive research into this. I've done testing on every map in the game for long periods of time, which is part of the reason why this video has taken me so long to get out. I'll show you these spots after we talk about how to aim. So I saw on Twitter clear back in January that Activision support actually responded to someone that asked them how to shoot down a UAV with the Mayhem. And this was their reply. You might have to lead the UAV a bit, they say. And right they are. So as I mentioned earlier, the Mayhem's sight is very useful in helping us pinpoint when exactly to shoot the Mayhem to have a chance at hitting a UAV. I've got a few still frames here on successful shots that actually hit and destroyed UAVs. Take note of some of the different heights on the UAV. On the bottom right, it's way far away. It's closer in all the other pictures, probably the closest on the bottom left one. Anyway, you'll notice they more or less have the exact same setup. So let's just focus our attention on one example. As you can see here, there are 3 circles. The inner circle, the middle circle, and the larger outer circle. The first thing you'll want to do is aim the inner circle directly onto the UAV. Then you'll want to move straight over to the right about 1.5 full circle lengths. You'll want to line up the inner circle, which again is the smallest one in the very center, just slightly above the UAV. Now let me show you a clip demonstrating this. So first locate the UAV, align the smallest circle directly on the UAV, and then go in a straight line 1.5 full circle lengths to the right, and then move up ever so slightly so that the smallest circle is just above the UAV. I'll play it again in slow motion so you can see my adjustment at the very end where I move the entire circle up just a hair above the UAV. I should note that this technique will obviously not guarantee you a successful hit every time, but it's a lot more successful than just randomly firing into the sky. So back to the maps that will make this easier. In my opinion, 2 maps stand above the rest for shooting UAVs. Those two maps are Biolab and Horizon. On Biolab, there are 3 ideal locations. The A flag is where the UAVs fly in closest, and I've had some fair amount of luck here. A better spot is on the top of the second hardpoint rotation. Remember, the higher you are, the less your projectile has to fly and the straighter it goes. However, the place I had the most success on Biolab is the entire B flag area. You can hop onto some of the random objects and shoot towards the wide open sky. All 3 of these locations work. On the map Horizon, the UAVs fly the closest in the game in one particular spot. It's between the A flag and the C flag. There's a huge structure there that has vents on top of it, and it's in the lowest left part of the map. Everyone else I know that has completed the anti-UAV challenge says they got a majority of them here, at this spot. However, in private matches, I just couldn't find any success. Now, my personal favorite spot on Horizon, and where I had the most success in private matches, was the entire B flag area. The problem with this area is that it tends to be very heavily populated by enemies since it's so large. So playing hardpoint, or a mode that can take away some of the action and allow you to get a clean shot, would be ideal. For the honorary mention maps, you have Solar, Riot, and Retreat. On Solar, the C flag area is ideal, specifically near the back cars. On Riot, you'll note that the C flag is located on some basketball courts. At the very back of this court is the best spot. There's also a good spot near the A flag. If you go back behind the flag, there's a truck, and it's around this area that works really good. Lastly, on Retreat, the UAVs tend to fly in almost as close as on Horizon. Behind the C flag, where you usually find people camping their dicks off most of the time, is a good spot. I also had a lot of luck at the B flag area, as there's a clear sky and the UAV comes in pretty close here. So those are the best maps. Now that's not to say that you can't shoot down UAVs on other maps, but they fly a bit higher and thus are harder to hit. With the proper aiming techniques and the map knowledge, you're well on your way to completing this challenge. With that said, however, I need to let you know how much dedication this challenge is going to take. In private matches, I would hit a UAV with this method every 20 to 30 shots. You get 2 shots per life, remember, so that's roughly every 10 to 15 UAVs. And that was in a private match. In a real public match, you've got grenades going off, gunfire from all different angles, and 6 or more enemies waiting to cold cock you while you're staring into the sky like a willy wankin' wiswog. So even with my methods, you're still going to need a lot of determination and perseverance to get these 5 UAVs destroyed. Trust me, I like to make things as easy as can be for you guys, but I just could not find any other viable strategies other than what I've given so far. I tried using the Disable Streaks system hack while holding the Mayhem, but that didn't work. I even tried having the Stinger out, preemptively changing to a Mayhem only class so that it would spawn into my hand upon death, shooting the Stinger at a UAV, suiciding, and then respawning with the Mayhem before the Stinger missile hit the UAV. But again, that didn't work either. So just casually attempt to do this challenge and don't stress too much about it. They'll come eventually. Use fast hands and equip the Mayhem on your best class and just be alert for when UAVs fly in. You'll want to use the maps I mentioned already to have the highest success rate. Also note that the UAVs tend to be closest upon first arriving on the map. So if you hear the announcer mention one has come in, quickly scan the skies. Remember to center your middle circle on the Mayhem sights directly on the UAV and then carefully move in a straight line to the right for 1.5 circle lengths away and then move up ever so slightly and fire away. My success was due to good luck, map knowledge, and good aiming technique. But most importantly, it depended on me to keep trying after I had failed.